Its name is F.I.S.T.O. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spit Take. I'm Adam Krause, and joining me, as always, is Rick Rogers.
Hey, that's me.
And Sam Chidley.
Hello.
All right. Well, we took a little break there for Thanksgiving. We had a lot going on. I was down in Nashville. Rick, what'd you end up doing?
I ate a lot of food. I played. Well, I got what I get? Cyberpunk. Oh, there's the echo. I hear it. Yeah, I try to move my microphone down here. I bought Cyberpunk 2077. Apparently, that first came out a couple of years ago, and it had a bad release. But then I got some reviews that after current DLC that it was really, there was a lot of good updates and everything. And I've been playing it, and it's a stellar game. It's kind of a mix between like a Grand Theft Auto, kind of a Batman, Detective Batman kind of thing going on. And then I'm playing the Hogwarts Legacy, which I got from Steam, and that's pretty much all I've done between that and watch football.
Sounds good. Sam, what'd you end up doing?
I went to my father-in-law's for breakfast and ate enough to get me sick there. Then left and went to my parents and ate enough to get me sick there. And then promptly spent some time, we'll say convalescing, and then fell asleep. So I didn't do a whole lot. Week before I was out in the woods and just spent a lot of time decompressing there. It's been a good time since our last podcast. How about you?
Yeah, I went down to Nashville. I was there for 5 days. I went to go visit Kim, my little sister down there, and she hosted everybody. I think it was a nice change of pace for her because she's always coming up here to for all the holidays and everything. So I think it was nice that we were able to bring the entire family down to her. I went out downtown, ended up in Midtown, Broadway. We had a really good time. Mostly it was just me and my siblings that went out. My wife and my brother's wife stayed behind. Kim's husband, Andrew, ended up coming out with us. But yeah, we had a blast, and it's been a long time since me and my siblings have gone out and partied like that. So it was pretty awesome. And then I did watch some of the football too. Footballs.
I just watched Dolly Parton.
I did watch that game.
I did. I started paying attention a lot more when Dolly Parton came on.
Ooh,
77, I think she is,
Yep.
and still looking amazing.
look better than Jack Harlow.
Just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, she'll admit herself she's had a lot of help with that. So,
Oh yeah, nobody's denying that. But I want to know who her doctor is. That's all.
I'd love to see you looking like Dolly.
Yeah, I think I would look very good as an old blonde
Woman.
Yeah, the old blonde woman.
Massive.
Bet I could pull it off. So cool. Well, let's jump into. We've had a lot has happened just over the just in media in general recently, and first thing I want to talk about is the Karate Kid. There is a new spinoff from Cobra Kai for the Karate Kid starring Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. And I am super excited about that. Ralph Macchio obviously being so awesome for the Karate Kid, Jackie Chan being one of my all-time favorite martial arts heroes. So really, really excited about that pairing. You've got a martial arts master and, joining him is Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I mean, what they've done with Cobra Kai is absolutely amazing. How like anybody can enjoy it, and like you can't complain about it. There's no complaints about it from anybody, and it's just really exciting to see Jackie Chan come back and see Ralph Macchio just like continue, because like he's been gone for so long, and now he's there, and it's just exciting to have him in our lives.
I know, right? I think he was on an episode of Psych at one point.
Probably, yeah.
He was on a couple episodes.
It was the
of
episode
Psych.
where they sent him to they sent Sean and Gus to the training academy, and he was the instructor there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's great.
But always fun to, yeah. And then that episode of How I Met Your Mother where they did Barney's bachelor party.
Mm-hmm.
where he was tagging along, and Barney hates him so much because he doesn't think he's the real Karate Kid.
Oh yeah,
William Zabka.
and that too. Yeah,
And then he shows up at the end. Spoiler alert. I don't think we have to say that if the show's older than 10 years.
Yeah,
but
I think we're good there.
But
I don't think anybody's going back to watching How I Met Your Mother.
No, I don't. I think that that one died out. We did. Me and my wife actually watched that last year. I think I want to say we watched all the way through last year, and really it just dies in season 8.
Yeah,
like everything's good up through season 7. Season
I'm
8.
the only one that enjoyed the ending. I'm sorry.
I did.
I loved it. I thought it ended the way it should have. And screw everybody, you're all wrong.
I disagree. I think
You're
it was a
allowed
terrible
to be
ending.
wrong.
I'm 100% right though.
I mean, it was fine.
Like-
It was nothing to blow me away. Danielle was. We went back and watched it together probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and she's gone back and rewatched it since. So she likes it. I think the show's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
there are good moments.
The only reason you go back and watch it is for Marshall and Barney. That's it.
Yeah, they're the best. But the reason I didn't like the ending though was just like you get into you've had 7 seasons leading up to it, just to find out again, spoilers, that his wife ended up getting cancer, died, and the whole thing was him just telling a story so he can get together with Robin, who he was trying to get with in the first episode, and it's just. It was a frustrating ending.
I was so happy for him. Good for him.
I mean, good for him for finding love for a little while there, but I don't know. It was a little bit of a slap in the face. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending, but I mean, the show up to that point was amazing. It was hilarious. And the How I Met Your Father reboot or rerun, whatever it was that they call it, but it was pretty bad. I watched probably 6 episodes before I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Who's
a lot of episodes.
Is it Sarah Chalk?
It was
in there. Who was that?
No, that was
Hilary Duff's in it.
Oh, that's
Hilary
right.
Duff, yeah.
Yes.
Hilary Duff and Kim Cattrall.
I think I seen the preview and I was like, nope, not for me.
So the problem with the show, and this was more prevalent in the first few episodes, they might have corrected it later, but the script writing seemed like some guy who was probably like 40, 50 years old who Googled how do young people talk, and then copy and pasted that as the script. And it was just so bad. Like, the whole thing is her dating on Tinder and her being upset that all the guys she's like matching with on Tinder want to sleep with her, even though we all know that's the real end goal of Tinder.
Yeah.
Like, it's for some reason it was completely lost on her. She thought she was going to find love on there. Again, just another example of the writers not having any clue how any of that actually works and just writing something. But it is what it is. The show got canceled. We move on.
Well, yeah, but somehow, because you know how like they can't come up with anything original. Somehow, Night Court got a second season, and it's such a bullshit show. It's just like all safe. Like it's like you think something funny's gonna happen, but then it's like the punchline just goes flat. It's like not even funny, and I'm just so annoyed that it's getting another season. I'm like, it's so terrible. Sorry, I know that's off topic. I'm just so annoyed because I was watching football. They're doing this preview. I'm like, why does this piece of trash show get another season? Who is watching this crap?
So let me tell you my interaction with Night Court. How much I know about Night Court. Here's how much I really know is from 30 Rock, the episode where Jenna was like, oh yeah, she's like, you remember that time I was on Night Court because they were trying to do some kind of reunion, and she's like, remember that time I was on there? They're like, yeah. They're like, you were that werewolf lawyer that pretty much bombed the show. And it cuts to an image of her howling at the moon in the middle of court.
I remember that.
And I was like, if that's really how the show is, I kind of want to watch it.
No, the old show,
but
the original was amazing, but it's not the same without Bull. First of all, you got to have Bull.
Wasn't there something with aliens on that show at some point, like the finale?
It was from like the early 90s. I don't even remember. I just watched it with my grandpa.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I remember hearing something about that.
I watched that Cheers and MASH with my grandpa. So
yeah. Well, wow. I don't know how we got to Night Court from Karate Kid, but there's some kind of training.
Because I was just worried about how they can't come up with anything original, and the stuff they come up with is trash.
Yeah. So Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic then. We figured it out, but we win this game. But we do have to make a correction from last week. This was pointed out to me by my dad, one of our 2 subscribers. By the way, thank you to our 2 subscribers right now. Hopefully more in the future. But my dad pointed this out to me when we were talking about the Supernatural episode, and I called it the French Connection.
French
I
mistake.
was wrong. It's the French mistake. Now, here's the part that pissed me off for like 2 days. Because he was like, oh yeah, he's like, it's the French mistake, like from Blazing Saddles. And I had to think about it. It took me this long to figure out that connection.
Mm-hmm.
That scene in Blazing Saddles where they come crashing through when they're singing the French mistake on the stage, which was like something that had never been done before until this movie, which fantastic movie, but I had never made that connection. I was mad for like 2 days that like one of my favorite shows and one of my favorite movies had a connection and I didn't make it. So I'm a little pissed at myself still. I'm still a little angry, but anyways, it got me and my dad talking about the French Connection. So now we're making plans to actually sit down and watch that, because from what I heard, it was a fantastic movie from like the 1970s with Gene Hackman, and apparently it's very good. So, but it's one of those ones I've never seen.
I'm gonna be honest. Supernatural is one of my favorite shows, and I probably can't remember anything from it. So if you point anything out, I'm like, I don't know.
Awesome. Well, let's see. So me and Rick, we both know both watched Blue Beetle a couple weeks ago, week and a half, something like that ago. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was one of the best comic book movies I've seen in probably a few years. What'd you think, Rick?
I thought it was better than The Flash. I mean, so here's my thing about it, and I thought it was more intricate than what I thought at first. I thought, well, the family's obviously there for comic relief, but I thought it was more of a story device when I put some thought into it. So the family was just like abhorrent, like it was just repulsive, right? Not giving any spoilers away, but there's this part where the sister's like, hey, you got to watch out for me. I need to take a shit. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's just this annoying. She thinks she's funny. Like, we're all supposed to laugh at her. But then I put some thought into it. It's like, we're supposed to be repulsed by her. And he's just like this normal kid, right? And so, like, everybody else is repulsed by his family, but he just wants to take care of his family. And like, anybody else would just like be scared away by these people. But he sticks by them to take care of them and save them. And you know what I mean? Like, I thought they actually, when I actually put some thought into it, they actually did that very well.
I thought the sister was kind of annoying too. I fucking loved George Lopez. He was so funny in that movie.
And the Nana or whatever.
Yeah, him and the Nana. Yeah, they were the best. But and I am going to spoil one part. It's just where like this really isn't that much of a spoiler, but the scarab comes alive to to attach itself to Jaime, and and he's like fighting with it as it's crawling around his body, and then he's like, and then they're like, oh, where'd it go? He's like, it's inside me, and George Lopez just starts screaming, it's up his ass, it's up his ass. And I was laughing so hard at that, and I think that's the first time I had really laughed at like the comedy in a comic book movie in some time, because a lot of the Marvel stuff's been pretty forced. The other high point I'll give Blue Beetle was the action scenes were fantastic. Because one of the things that I never really noticed, somebody pointed out in another podcast I listened to, somebody pointed out like a lot of the Marvel action scenes are all like quick cut. You can't really tell what's going on. It's like tough to like follow what's happening. This was like almost single shot type stuff. Like it was great. Like they had the fight going on. You could very clearly see the fight, the choreography, him using his abilities, like everything was really good. I thought the CGI was good. And like, I really didn't have too many complaints. The one complaint I do have, and it's actually just a cliche that I fucking hate with these movies, is, a young kid gets superpowers and the first thing he wants to do is get rid of them. Oh, I didn't ask for this. This isn't part of my life. Like, dude, no. Whoever's writing that doesn't remember what it's like to be like a teenage boy who like basically all you do is dream about having superpowers and being awesome. But movies and TV shows keep doing that, and they're this whole like, I don't want these powers. Like, fuck that. Like, yeah, I want those powers.
But the thing about this, though, I think is it's probably going to be a one-off. Because they're rebooting all of DC, so we're probably never gonna hear about this again. I think a lot of people had a problem with George Lopez calling Batman a fascist.
Yeah.
Which I really don't care. I don't even know what that was supposed to mean. I don't understand it.
In the trailer, it was way out of context. Like after you get to know his character and everything, he's kind of like paranoid of
government and stuff.
It made more sense once you had kind of
he's
seen
got
the
some
movie.
kind of connection. He's like in the deep state or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So like you find that out a little bit later on, or not later on, you find that out about him right away. But the line makes more sense when you're actually watching the movie. But the movie itself did not do great at the box office. Like it made its money back, but not by much. But on Rotten Tomatoes, it has over 90% in both critics and audience. So we're not alone in the fact that we like the movie. It's just, I think people are just kind of burnt out. Nobody knows who Blue Beetle is. And
well, I don't know if that was very advertised, because I think they are tearing down the old DC.
Yeah.
So I think they're just like, we're just putting out what we got made right now. They did advertise, but it wasn't like pushed out very hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I could see Blue Beetle coming back, and I guess there's just a lot of questions on how they're rebooting the universe. Like it's tough. Like if they're just going to say, if they're just going to draw a hard line and cut it and say,
they've already done it.
Now, new Superman.
They've canceled all the shows. They canceled Superman and Lois recently.
Yeah. But are they going to transition it into a new universe? I thought they were going to do that with The Flash, honestly, but they didn't. But like, were they going to transition into a new universe, or were they just going to just end it completely? Just like, fade to black, Soprano style, and start the new series of heroes.
That was my impression, that they were just releasing everything that they had already made. James Gunn's taken over, and he's just doing everything all anew. That was that's my understanding. I could be wrong. Because that's my understanding. Just because they were canceling everything, and they canceled like everything that they started canceling too. And they had that Batwoman going on. They canceled that, was it Supergirl? Maybe it's
Supergirl.
They had that going. They canceled that. They had a couple things going. They just canceled it all. And then when they hired James Gunn, and then pushed out what they already had done.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, because Peacemaker is canon in the new universe. Season 2 is coming out.
Baby too. So, and so was the second Suicide Squad.
And so and these were continuations off of the old universe. Right. So there's got to be something that ties it all together. Because the Amanda Waller, what happened at the end of Peacemaker is going to affect what happens in the Amanda Waller show. What happens in that show affects Peacemaker. So they're keeping all of that. And so it's tough to say, and everything I think is just up in the air with DC right now.
Yeah, I don't even think they know what they're doing with it anymore. They're keeping what they like and getting rid of what they don't. They're not going to say anything about it. It's not going to make sense in the universe. They're just going to do whatever they want with it and wonder why they're not making the money they think they should be making.
Well, it sounds like James Gunn has a plan, and somebody who puts the story first, I think he's really going to make a difference in that. But it's also I wonder if it's too late too. So we'll see.
Probably, but I think if they put out, I don't think it is if they put out quality stuff, and if they put out stuff that doesn't insult their audience, which is what they've been putting out. That's the problem. Is they put out stuff that insults their audience, and then when a certain faction of the audience says something, then they blame the audience for why it does so poorly.
Which is becoming more and more of a theme lately. People are making movies that they're using diversity to kind of hide behind their shitty stories. People blame us for, or I say us, but I mean it is true. We are the middle-aged white men that they're probably talking about, but She-Hulk was not a great show. I don't think it was terrible, but I don't think it was not a great show. But they made a point of it in the show to talk about how basically anybody who doesn't like it hates women.
Well, it's not even the diversity, because everything has some kind of political influence in it. But it's good when it's a part of the story. Like X-Men, that's a part of the story.
Yep.
But what they do now is they hit you over the head with it and not make it a part of the story. It's like, let's just stop and preach at you, and then we'll continue on with the story. You see what I'm saying? And then but make the story, but like the story's not interesting. Like, okay, Star Wars, for example. All right, the sequel trilogy. Okay, first one I thought it was going in a good direction. But my problem was they acted like Rey had to be this infallible character. And there was no other female superhero in history to ever be a hero. But let's look at female heroes from the past. Can you name any great heroes from the past in movies? Like Ridley.
Female heroes?
Yeah, female heroes. Like Ridley from Alien.
Ellen Ripley.
Sarah Connor.
Ellen Ripley, obviously. Sarah Connor.
You know, so they made
there's plenty of them out there.
There are so many, and they're beloved by just so many people, and these people just can't get through their stupid ass fucking heads that look, if it's well written, if it's done well, we don't give a shit. Man, woman, doesn't matter. If it's done well, we'll like it. If all you're doing is denigrating half of your viewing population and saying the other half is this next to God holy, and the one half that is, it's more than one half, let's be honest, that is coming there to actually watch a good movie is stupid if they don't like who you have as your lead, you're going to continue losing money. And I don't know what to tell them. They have no idea how to make a cogent film with a good, strong female lead.
100%. And I read.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I read an interesting article in crack.com. It was a while ago, really long time ago, but they were writing about like why movies with female leads tend to fail and why some of them are very successful. And a really interesting article, and I'm going to try to see if I can find it and put it in our comments and everything. So I don't want to like dive too deep into it, but the summary of it was a lot of the strong female women came from tragedy, came from more so than male heroes did. It was things like, being abused, raped, losing someone, whatever the case was, they had to go through tragedy in order to become stronger. And that we see that with men too, but the most successful female movies, most successful female hero led movies came from that. I mean, you look at things like Kill Bill, and I love Kill Bill. I thought it was a great series, but she went through hell to become that hero. Even when you look at Ripley, when in the first movie, she wasn't the action hero that she became in Aliens. It took her losing her entire crew and going through this traumatic event to become the badass hero that we knew her. Because in the first one, she was scared. She did the best she could. She was a survivor. The second one, she was an ass kicker.
Now,
but
the biggest thing that I wanted to point out about Rey, though, is at any point, did you feel like she was in any danger?
No.
Any real danger? Not. With any other lead, do you feel like they're in any danger?
Yeah.
Do you find that interesting? Do you find that you're on the edge of your seat when you feel like your hero's in danger?
Yeah.
So when you see Brie Larson as Captain Marvel and nothing phases her and you don't feel like she's going to get hurt, do you find that interesting? Like that this human being can't be hurt? What's that movie that came out a couple of years ago? I'm trying to think. She's like a cyborg. You know what I'm talking about? Alita.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Alita. Now that great female lead right there with kind of a fish out of water story, because it was just an interesting character. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but there was times you thought she was in danger, but it was interesting because she was like discovering this world, discovering herself. You know what I mean? It was that fish out of water story that you always find interesting. you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't even know how we got on the subject.
I don't remember either. This is like one of those things that we just keep trailing off into.
But
It's me getting angry. I'm sure that's what led to it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But either way, good conversation. Some people will disagree with us, and we're not saying that there aren't people out there who hate movies just because it's female led.
No.
There definitely are people like that. Just saying that's probably not a majority of your audience that didn't like the movie.
But it's just about the movie being interesting.
Yeah, we want good movies. That's all we're asking for.
Yep.
We don't care who's in the movie. We don't care what race they are or who they bang.
Yeah.
I don't care who they bang. And I don't need the whole story or the whole personality to be who they want to get intimate with. Like their whole personality doesn't need to be like, remember the when they did the Hulu the Runaways? Did you guys watch that at all?
I watched the first season.
Okay, so two of them, the witch and the I forget their names, and the one that when she takes off her bracelet, she becomes sparkly and stuff. But they're lesbians. But their whole character, once they like fall in love, their whole character just ends up then making out and becoming lovey-dovey. Like that's all they do.
You know
Like,
what?
Yeah.
You know what show did it really well, in my opinion, is Gen V. Gen V did that really well with their character.
Absolutely, they did. That was fantastic. Like, because it was never a focal point. It was never part of the story. They were just like, cool, like, whatever. These people are gay. These people are over here sucking each other off. Like, nobody cared.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
it wasn't part of the story.
College students,
it was just their fucked up world.
Kind of expected, but,
Yeah.
Like I like a good love story though, but I don't need that to be the whole story. Like Sam, you seen the Cyberpunk show?
Yeah.
Right? That was a great love story.
That was done really well.
Adam, if you want to see a good love story, that Cyberpunk Edge Runners, fantastic love story about freaking people that are basically upgrade themselves with technology in the future and sell drugs and stuff. It's great.
And I mean, yeah, it's done really well. It's people getting together because they complete a part of the other person, basically. It's all you complete me. That sort of thing is what it felt like.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was done really well because you can tell they care for each other and they want the best for each other. And that's why they're doing these stupid, dumb things to keep, the one guy continuing to do more and more augmentations, knowing he's not going to live long if he continues this.
Yeah, there's a main story to it, but the ending is all about love and his love for Jules, right? Or that's her name, right? Jules? Is James and Jules or June?
Can't
Jules?
remember.
They both start with the J. But like,
sure.
But like, he does everything. He literally does everything for her. Like, but like he remembers she wants to go to the moon. Like that was very important part of it. Like when they find out he doesn't have the package to fix him up in the ambulance or something like that. No, he has no. When the ambulance finds out he has illegal hardware, so she pushes him out of the ambulance. He's looking in her eyes and he's just focused on her and not the chaos around them and all that. Remember that part? But you could tell like he's like in love with her, just staring at her, and it's just amazing how that show captured it. So like,
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about, but I'm interested.
And
I'm like, this seems so wildly crazy. I want to watch it.
They did a love triangle well too. Throwing in Rebecca. Rebecca was a fantastic character.
Yeah,
I fucking loved her. Her character was done so well. And yeah, it's one of the last times I've seen a love triangle in a movie or a TV show actually done well.
Yeah,
I see love triangles in movies all the time.
That's why I'm saying, like, I love love stories. I just don't want that to be your whole character. Like, I could do a love story where people are gay, but like, don't be that, like, be your whole personality.
Yeah. Well, and that's where Supergirl. That's where I stopped watching Supergirl.
Did that horribly.
Oh yeah, her sister. I forget what her name is. Her sister though. soon as she became lesbian, and like basically the entire season like revolved around that story, and then occasionally Supergirl punching someone. I was like, cool, I'm done, I'm over it. Like, and it was just it was just like that's all there was to the story.
Yeah, it got boring. I trailed off. I don't know around when with that series, but yeah, I it couldn't keep me.
And that show just went so bad. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I mean, the people that like it, I'm sure, are just going to say, well, it's not for you. And that's fair. But if you're making something with a character that has been beloved for years, like I'm thinking of the animated series movie. I can't remember. I just saw a clip the other day with Superman or Supergirl fighting Darkseid. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the movie. That was a good one. Oh my
gosh, that was one of the best fight scenes in that whole thing. And you've got a character like that has a wide reach, and you're trying to put a message forward. You can't make a message an entire season. You can come back to it, but holy crap.
Yeah, well, they've stated numerous times in the comic books that Supergirl is stronger than Superman. Just like Superman knows how to hold back more. And he's always afraid of going like over the top with things. But I don't know. Supergirl like lost me quite a few times. Like, I mean, I think I stayed with it even through her sister's, romance thing going on or whatever. But for a little bit at least, I think the episode that I finally was like, okay, like we're living way outside of reality at this point was when they're like something happens where the EOD ends up selling a bunch of guns to criminals or something like that. Or like they end up getting their hands on them, and then like Martian Manhunter comes into the EOD at the end of the episode. He's like, all these people got guns because of us. We're no longer going to manufacture or use lethal weapons here at the EOD. And he's like, if you don't like it, you can walk out. And like half the people walk out. And I was like, okay, first of all, easy thing for a fucking Martian that can that can change his form and do all this other shit, phase through stuff. I was like, to these humans that are like, hey, listen, we're fighting aliens. Like, we want the lethal weapons, please. Yeah. Like, very easy conversation for him to have, or for him to say, like, cool, we don't need these things. Like, cool, you're a superpower being. We're just these average humans. Like, I was like, okay, like this is pushing like this gun control shit too much. I was like, I'm done. Like, Supergirl is just a big political message now. I'm over it. Don't want to see that in my superhero movies.
Yep. Or
shows or whatever. So cool. Well, I think we can wrap up on our angry rants for the day.
Oh, you don't know me that
well. we did not intend to go that far with any of these things, but here we are. Here we are. Enjoy the show. Cool. Well, the next topic we have today is we're talking about our favorite RPGs of all time. And I will let Rick take it away because I know he just made his list.
Oh, I was just making a list of RPGs. You want to talk about my favorite? Let me pick out of this.
Well, I would just say favorites. I just open discussion about just our favorite RPGs in general.
I mean, I can just talk about what I think are the best, but like the very first RPG I've ever played was Dragon Warriors, which is nothing like it is now. I played this one probably more than I played any other RPG. Real simple. There's just a freaking dragon, and you got to go kill it. Like, that's all it was. Yeah. And I remember seeing it there. I was living in Wilmington, Illinois. I remember seeing the cartridge, and I rented it, and I played it. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And I probably didn't beat it till years later because I didn't know what I was doing then. And I probably beat it several times ever since. But if we're talking my favorite RPG, that's a hard one, man. Oh my God.
Well, as long as you're talking about first, RPGs that kind of introduce. Let's start with first RPGs. So the first RPG I played was a Super Mario RPG on Super Nintendo. And interestingly enough, they just re-released that at the time of this recording, like about a week ago. I've been watching some of the videos. It looks amazing. I may have to get it when the price drops a little bit. But that was my first introduction to RPGs. And it was more so just the turn-based RPGs. It's like I had never played anything like that before, but it was Super Mario, and I was obsessed when I was a kid. So, I got that one, and I fell in love with it. It's probably one of the few Super Mario games that I've beaten. But the storyline was amazing. You're just chasing down the 7 stars. There's some comedy built into it. It's fun. It's silly. And it's not an overly complicated game to a point where like you rage quit, often like, hey, maybe you got to play the boss a few times, or maybe you got to go back and kill a couple more Goombas, and then you can take them on. But that was by far my favorite, or the first RPG I ever played, and got me in love with the RPG type games. Just level building, creating new skills, abilities, and just growing like that. So that was my first. What's yours, Sam?
I don't know. Would you call Ocarina of Time an RPG? Because more an open world thing, right?
Yeah. I'd say
well, that would have been an easy choice.
Yeah, I'd say that's more of an adventure.
Yeah, that's because I was racking my brain trying to think, and my first would probably be Morrowind.
Morrowind. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't really get into RPGs until later, and that was mainly a buddy of mine that he was into them, and I gave him hell for liking these games. I was like, hey, and you're not going in and shooting stuff. It's not it's not racing anything, that sort of crap. And then he showed me Morrowind, and I was like, huh, that's pretty fucking sweet. And I bought that, and I played probably 100 hours of that in the first week. And then I found out, hey, Oblivion is out already at this point. And it's been all Obsidian or Bethesda RPGs ever since. I mean, New Vegas is still probably one of my favorites.
Oh, it is by far the best of the Fallout games, New Vegas. But I think Oblivion, first time I played that was over at Rick's, actually, when we were in college, because I think he had just gotten an Xbox or something. I think he got some kind of military bonus or something, but he had just gotten himself an Xbox, and I was over at his house, and we started, and he was like showing me the game, and I was like, I've never played this before, because I hadn't played Morrowind. So like Oblivion was kind of my first thing I saw, and then after he was playing it and I got my Xbox, I bought it too, and that quickly became one of my favorite Elder Scrolls games. But yeah, Bethesda has definitely got kind of a cornerstone on that market right there. I have been playing Starfield, and the hard part about Starfield, because I like the game,
we're getting into review time now.
When I play it, this isn't really a review. You guys got the review today about Baldur's Gate. This is just like my personal.
I still got to get my favorite role playing game.
Oh, we'll get there.
Well, yeah. So, let me just put this out there about Starfield. It'll be short and sweet. I like the game. The problem I have with it is that while I'm playing it, it reminds me of better games, and then I want to go play those. And I think I've mentioned to you guys our group chat, like that's where I'm like, yeah, you do the space battle. I was like, but it just makes me want to play Elite Dangerous. No. The ground battle stuff makes me want to go play Mass Effect. Like the problem is that the game reminds me of better games that did these things better. So that's my only thing. I was like, I'll probably keep playing through it until I finish it, if I finish it, whatever, or until I get bored. But again, not a bad game. There's just better ones that do these things better.
I had already decided a while ago that I wasn't gonna get into Starfield, just because it didn't seem like it was going to be much different, and didn't really have anything hooking me into it. And then I saw a bunch of reviews, I saw a bunch of videos and everything else. I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm getting this. Now that you're talking about better games and making you want to play better games that you've played previously, I've never played any of those games, so maybe it wouldn't be too bad for me.
No. Well, and I talk about Elite Dangerous a lot because that's probably my favorite space fighter game of all time. Like, and that one kind of is an RPG in a way, but it's more like upgrading your ships than anything. It's tough to say, but it's just so much fun. You can just travel the entire galaxy. I think I was telling you guys in our group chat, they have over 400 billion star systems in that game. And somebody did the math. And they were like, you'd have to be 73,000 years old and visit one planet a second to visit every single planet or every single system in that game. So it's just awesome. There's endless possibilities in it. You can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. There's nothing guiding you. There's no story. You just go and try to make your bank. So, but it's a fun game. If anybody's listening and they are looking for a new game to play or haven't tried this, give it a shot. It's for sure worth your time. Let's move on to favorites though. Rick.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just thinking about this. I guess because when Sam said Ocarina of Time, I'm trying to, because adventure games versus RPGs, you know what I mean? Like, adventures would be a lot easier. RPGs, I'd have to go with Final Fantasy X. I felt like that was an adventure of a game, very much of an experience of a game. Like, Final Fantasy VII has such a fantastic story, but Final Fantasy X just, like, the graphics were just better at that time. And then they had the Blitzball going, and I actually had fun playing that. And then the story was great. That was, I don't know, I just had a good time playing that game. And then a couple other ones notable, the Fable series.
Yeah.
I forgot about those. Those are awesome.
Great series. Dragon Age Origins.
That's a good one.
I know Adam's played that one. I don't know if you guys ever played Witcher 3. But that's always talked about, and that's always one to pick up. If you guys haven't played that, one of the the greatest RPGs of all time, and you can pick it up now and probably play it for hours.
They had it on Steam for a Black Friday sale for like $7, and I was like, yeah, should I get it? I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. But maybe I'll see if it comes out tomorrow for like Cyber Monday. Then
you should
check it out.
You should get it if you were an RPG fan.
I like the show.
It's a.
I know it's different, but
it's kind of I don't even know what you play that I'd compare it to. Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah,
that's all I can say about it.
I'll have to check to see if they have it on Cyber Monday. I left out MMORPGs on this, so I feel like it's kind of a different classification of games, still RPGs, but so I left that out. We'll save that for another conversation because I know you guys aren't as into the MMO type games, but I play a lot of those. I love them. But if I had to pick something as a favorite, I'd probably have to go with like 7 Days to Die. And only because I've been playing that game for about 8 or 9 years, like consistently. And it's probably the only game I've ever done that with. It is a level builder. You are trying to upgrade your character. So it falls into the RPG, just, kind of barely at a point. But I love the survival crafting games. And 7 Days to Die was like the first one I was introduced to that wasn't, Minecraft really. But me and my buddies play that once a week. We play 2 or 3 hours, and it's just tons of fun. But that's that's probably like my favorite one. But up there with it, Final Fantasy 7 and 8, 2 of my favorite Final Fantasy ones. Obviously the Skyrim series, the Fallout series, like all of those are really good. But yeah, I think those are probably up there with that. But I would put 7 Days to Die as my favorite. What about you, Sam?
I mean, so a lot of it to me tends to feel like rose tinted glasses. I love Morrowind. Of the series, that might have been one of my favorite, but if I went back and played it now, it's probably not going to hold up that well. There's just, it's clunky. I remember that. I just remember really enjoying myself in that game. It's kind of similar with New Vegas, though I did go back and replay that last year. But it shows its age. I really wish I could get an updated version of New Vegas. But I mean, of the one that I've played the most, I can tell you was Skyrim. I have so many hours in Skyrim between Xbox 360, Xbox One, Steam, Echo. But yeah,
Yeah, no,
I know.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I bought that game like 3 or
Yeah.
4 times.
I can confirm Morrowind is clunky. I think I think I went and bought like the Xbox One and disc replay here and put it in the Xbox, and it was very, very slow and difficult and hard to play
Mm-hmm.
by
Yeah.
today's standards for sure.
Yeah. You know what another good RPG game is Saints Row. The Saints Row
Never
series.
played it.
Oh my God, dude. So the first one I ever played was Saints Row 4, which is the most off the wall one of the Saints Row series. And it's crazy. So that was the first one I played, and I was like, oh man, this game's awesome, because the whole premise is basically you stop a terrorist attack, become the president of the United States. Aliens come down to destroy the planet, and then you end up in this cyber world where you end up getting superpowers. And it's exactly as crazy as I'm sounding right now. But it's so much fun. The dialogue is so good, and there's just no complaints about it. But then I went back and played like Saints Row the Third, and it was like kind of like a GTA type game. You know, you're going around, you're a criminal mastermind, whatever, doing all the stuff. But then like just such a difference between the two. But like Saints Row 4 was just so much fun. And again, it was an open world, just level up, take on the bad guys, get new powers. And again, there's the script in it is just the best thing in the world.
I mean, I think of any of the video game series, that's probably the one that's changed the most throughout its life.
Yeah.
Because one was literally a GTA ripoff.
It was.
And from what they are now, yeah, they're night and day difference from how they started.
They're off the wall. It's insane, and I love it. I love every second of it. Like when I try to think about like bad RPGs, I can't really think of any off the top of my head.
One RPG I wanted to point out that I think definitely needs a remake is a game called Parasite Eve. That was probably one of the first. It probably came out around Final Fantasy VII, and it was just a wonderful experience of a game.
Yeah.
Very strong female lead that you felt like was gonna die at any moment, and you felt for her, and was I just remember it being a great story, and I was a teenage kid, like video games are such art that does not get enough credit. Like when you play one of those games where you're playing it, when you feel like you're having an experience, when the video games gives you this emotion, like the Cyberpunk 2077, just like, and I messaged you guys, like how me and Sam were talking about the show, like gives you feels. The game, just the beginning of the game, you create this friendship with this guy. Like you're going out, you're doing jobs and stuff with this guy, and I'm not going to spoil it.
Johnny Silverhands.
You create this feeling,
Johnny Silverhands.
You create this feeling for this guy, and then something happens, and the view you have the whole time, you see it, and you see the look in his eye. The feels are there. It's an experience. Yeah. It's an art form that you do not get in any other form. I'm thinking, like, if I had this in VR, I couldn't handle it. I would be in tears right now.
Yeah. Well, and that's the fun part about video games. One of the reasons we're going to talk about it, because it's going to segment a lot of our listeners who don't play video games and probably not be interested in the episodes where we're talking about this. But at the same time, it's something that we appreciate and we like to talk about. You know, if you're a game enthusiast, check out some of the ones that we're talking about, because I remember Parasite Eve as well. That was a great game. And I remember reading a story about how some kid passed his like science test because of that game, because they have all this exposition about like mitochondria and everything. And like they go into like, and it's real science that they put into the game. This kid's like, they made me learn, damn it. I mean, God, we'd be an intelligent society if video games made us learn like that game did. But
I mean, I remember my learning video games as a young boy.
Sesame Street.
Well, there was that one.
I had Where the World is Carmen Sandiego, and it came with a freaking encyclopedia. And I never looked at the encyclopedia. I never won the game.
That and Tell me if y'all remember Putt Putt. No?
No.
It was this little like purple
No.
blue car. It kind of looked like the taxi from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And yeah.
I had that game too. Never beat it.
And you'd go around, you do like
around and tune.
you do like math problems, learn English, you know, how to write and all this other stuff. Yeah. I played a lot of Putt Putt as a kid.
I remember Math Blaster. That one was a good one.
Oh,
that was a good learning game.
And Oregon Trail. Hello.
Yeah.
Oregon Trail. Yeah. How else are you going to survive in the wilderness getting from wherever over to Oregon?
How else are you going to learn how to
Dysentery.
not die of
It was
dysentery?
Yeah.
And gonorrhea.
And you got to be able to assess, can you ford that river or not? Most of the time, not. I loved in that game, though, when you just go out hunting and you just kill like way more than you were able to carry back. And you're just like, well, I got more ammo here, so might as well keep shooting buffalo. And you're like, oh, that's pretty true, too. Okay, so that's how that happened.
Better not cut that out.
I think I'm going to probably cut that out. We'll see.
I mean, there is a reason why market honey has been, or what was made illegal in the U.S.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So, but cool. Let's move on. We're getting to the 53-minute mark. Probably a little bit different if you're listening at home. Probably about the 30-minute mark, based on how much we're going to be cutting out of this episode.
Don't mind me and my heater.
But or freeze to death, whatever.
I'd rather not. But I wouldn't have to go to work tomorrow, so that'd be
all right. Yeah. Well, let's go into our review of the week, which is Baldur's Gate. Game I have not played, but Rick and Sam are big fans of, and I guess they're playing together, having a relationship or something.
No, we have not started playing together yet. No.
Oh no? What's the holdup?
Waiting for you to get in on this, man.
I've got Diablo 4.
I've asked several times when our game night is, and you guys ghost me. So,
do you have Diablo 4 yet?
I've had it. Yeah. I'm like a level 11 druid or something like that. I don't even know.
Oh, shit. What do you guys? What you doing after this?
Probably going to bed. I got work in the morning.
Yeah, that's why we're never playing games
I have
together.
To be up in 6.5 hours.
I got Friday and Saturday night. I don't do anything with my life.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday night, the 2 nights I do everything. Well, in any case, why don't you guys go ahead? You guys can tell us a little bit about Baldur's Gate.
Well, I'll let Sam take the lead. He's a D&D fan.
Yeah.
So I guess let's start by telling everybody what Baldur's Gate is if they're not familiar with it.
So I don't know. I'd put that I'd put that in RPG as well. And if you do, that'd probably be number 1 or 2 for me of all time. I mean, Baldur's Gate's it's a big city in the Forgotten Realms, in Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, I mean, without spoiling too much, you get a parasite in your head, and the entire game is trying to remove the parasite from your head. It's the first real foray I've gone into turn-based video games. They've never really appealed to me until now. And this game is just fantastic, from off-the-wall humor to just being able to destroy everything. I've had a lot of fun in this game, and it was done so damn well.
So it's turn-based?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I remember Baldur's Gate 2 being a lot more like Diablo, but maybe I'm just, because I played Baldur's Gate 2 a long time ago, but maybe I'm just remembering it wrong.
Here's my thing about this game. Number one, well, first of all, I went and played through. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Probably skipped over half the followers or the companions. Probably didn't do half as much as I was supposed to do, so I was probably a lower level later on. Went back, did it again, found out I was stuck at the same spot, but finally figured out and just killed everybody that I couldn't get past. And I was just like, screw everybody. I'm just so mad that I couldn't get past this. And once I was able to kill everybody, I just killed everybody in the area. But you have to make hard decisions in this game, and your decisions affect everything.
Yeah.
Like everything you do affects the story. It's crazy and you feel it. And there is no easy decisions. Like you can't make it like there's like a path to where like you either become a flare, which is like you a full-blown octopus type of creature, or you lose 2 companions.
Yep.
And you like those companions. Like what's her name? The demon or the Teflon
Karlach.
chick.
Tiefling.
Karlach. She's freaking awesome.
Yes.
You do not want to lose her. She's like my favorite. I don't want to lose her, or it's turned into this octopus deck, basically.
Yeah.
Like
she's my first romance in the game. So
like yeah, like there's no easy thing. I lost Shadowheart, who like I want, but for some reason like we have a romance, but I can't get her to get naked. But like she left. I don't even know why she left. Because the first time I made the same exact decisions and she didn't leave. The second time I made the same exact decisions, but she just said, "Screw you, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving." I'm like, why? I have a feeling it had something to do with our romance. I think that's what it had something to do with. So like, and she's like,
she just wanted to be friends.
But she be in a romantic relationship and flirt with all the other people.
That's true. And,
I mean, you can,
but she's important. She's important in battle, though. She's an important like character in battle. Like I always have her as more of a healer, buffer type of character.
Yeah.
So like it screwed up everything. So now I'm taking on that.
Oh gosh.
So it's but he's farther along, and I don't want to start a whole new one, even though it doesn't take that long, and it's kind of fun. And like you can become a total jerk and like just sacrifice your one of your companions that you love to like some god or something like that. Like you can like make those decisions, like, but it's hard. But some of these decisions are really hard. It's not even a joke.
It's so funny though with video games how like we've evolved to that point where you can have relationships with the NPCs in your game. NPC, for anyone listening not familiar, non-player characters. But yeah, how you can have like actual relationships with them, and it's creepy and weird if you try to describe that to someone who doesn't play video games. Like, because to Rick's point, there's times in these games where it's like, well, cool, I need this achievement. I've got to get this person to go to bed with me.
Oh yes, achievement.
And that's yeah. That's why there's achievement. That was an achievement in Fable, and you could get STDs in Fable. Like that was a legit thing.
Can I give one spoiler about this game?
Yeah,
and it happens later on in Act 3. I'm sorry, Rick. I'm going to spoil it right now. You end up one of your main points of contact in the game is a mind flayer.
Yeah.
You can sleep with the mind flayer. Oh,
already did
and
it.
There's an achievement for it, and the achievement is called Mind Fucked.
Yeah, I did
it. My favorite. It's hilarious.
No, I was like, I'm doing this. What I didn't know is all your companions would somehow watch it.
Gale and Asterion and Will.
I turned around
through,
looking at,
and then for some reason they were all butt ass naked with their dicks hanging out. I was like, what the hell just happened?
But no one said anything about it. No one.
They mentioned it to me.
Oh, no one's mentioned it yet. Maybe I've just been avoiding it.
Oh my gosh, that was because I already felt dirty doing it, and then that crap happened, and I was just like, oh my gosh,
dirty. But I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, well, like I want to release the Prince. So I want to get them thinking I'm on their side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so like you guys talking about that brings me back to Fallout New Vegas, the part where you're like rounding up the prostitutes basically,
F.I.S.T.O.
and then they're like, "Oh, we need you to go get this one." Turns out it's F.I.S.T.O, the robot. His name is F.I.S.T.O.
You finish it, it's like your legs feel weak.
You put the circuits in the robot, and then it's like gives you options. It's like test the robot, and then it just fades to black.
Might as well.
And every time, like, I know exactly what happened. I'm like, every time, I'm like, well, why not? Like, first time I did it, I was like, I guess we're gonna test this robot right here. And you don't
No.
have to; it's an option. But I decided to test a robot called Fisto.
I mean, so
Oh
like
man,
my favorite thing about this is anybody who's ever played an RPG or anything like that with me knows I 90% of the time play a female character. The first time I ever ran into Fisto, I was playing a male character and I decided to test it. It was just awkward.
that's how I've always tested it.
I was like, I feel really dirty now.
That's I've always played male characters in that game, and I got tested by or I tested Fisto. I got probably a little tested by Fisto
Yeah.
too, but um, but yeah, that is the ridiculousness
Yes.
of these games.
That's
But,
why we love
Yeah,
them.
but
No,
Baldur's Gate 3, highly recommended. I think the big thing is like between this and the other games that I bought over the weekend, Hogwarts Legacy and Cyberpunk. Well, Cyberpunk did not do this, but Hogwarts Legacy and this, like, these are fully released games.
No.
They release full
Yeah.
games and aren't saying, "Hey, pay me money and we'll give you more game or better games," or they didn't release like half-ass games.
I mean,
like
Baldur's Gate released and they had no plans of creating any DLC for it. They just said, here's the
Exactly.
game. Any issues,
because
we'll show up and we'll fix them.
DLC for anyone listening, again, not familiar with video games, downloadable content. Basically, the companies charge you money to get add-ons to the game.
So they create a game,
So
and then they say, all right, this part here can be the base game, and then we've got 5 years of downloadable content we can, charge them extra for.
But
well, and if you're not an avid game player now, and you used to, it's basically the equivalent of how you used to find secret characters like through achievements in a game. But they don't do that anymore.
No.
Now you pay for it. It's outrageous.
but now they like don't release a full game. Like they but like Hogwarts Legacy, I'll say right now, like they didn't know it was going to be as big as it
It was the
was,
same with Baldur's Gate.
but they didn't release it on Switch right away. They didn't release it until they knew it was a done game, and they didn't expect it to be so big. That's why they didn't have any like extra stuff for it to release. So now they're working on the second one already. So, but Hogwarts Legacy 2, that's another one, highly recommended. Like I'm not even like I'm sorry, I'm going off. I don't know if you care, but like I'm not even like a Harry Potter fan. My wife's the Harry Potter fan, but I'm forced to watch it. But like now I'm kind of liking Harry Potter because I'm like feel like I'm like a Hogwarts. Like I'm at the school and I wear the hat and I'm like I'm part of Gryffindor and like I'm learning all the magic stuff and stuff. Like it's kind of cool. Like
you're
now
a
I
fucking
kind of
wizard,
want to
Harry.
watch the movies and start watching Harry Potter and stuff. Like I kind of want to get into it now.
I heard it's a lot of fun. I heard the game is great, but to the point of like non-finished games. So I have a soft spot in my heart for alpha games, like games released in alpha, only because I can buy the game for $10. I know it's not done yet. I know there's more coming, but they don't charge me for anything as they keep going. Which I don't know if that's the same thing you're talking about, but like there's a lot of games that I buy in alpha for like they're maybe indie games. It's a group of like maybe 5 programmers like putting these games together. They release a product so that they can start kind of funding the rest of the project. And then they release the updates as they go. Like, for instance, I was talking about 7 Days to Die earlier. They're in Alpha 20 right now. They've been in Alpha since they released, I think 10 years ago. And they're still in Alpha, but they're releasing like every Alpha update, every 1.0 upgrade has been awesome. And they keep adding a lot of new stuff. And the game from the beginning to now is great. If the game is still what it was when it first released, I probably wouldn't play anymore. But they keep adding and doing additional things. So I do like the alpha games for that reason, is because they do tend to add like big enhancements, trying to complete the game that they'll never really complete. And I know I just did air quotes and something that we're only going to have audio on, um, but I do like the alpha.
You gotta
games.
use
I have a personal
inflection.
thing. These inflection games that they have not completed
There you go.
yet. Yeah, okay, it's better. But yeah, so I like the alpha games.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 did something very similar. I'm trying to figure out how long it was in early access. Like 3 years. Yeah, it was in early access for 3 years. People were playing it 3 years ago, and it was just released this year. I mean, if it's feasible, I think companies should be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you're just like, hey, we're just going to create more and more content.
I figure you're looking at it as it may lengthen development time, but if we're able to actually put out a game that is going to, as Baldur's Gate did this year, make other developers go, wait, you can't do that. This isn't, no, that we're not able to put out full games. We're Call of Duty, we're Activision. We don't have the resources to put out full games. And they're like, hey, we're Larian Studios. We're 200 people. We can do it. You can do it.
Right.
Activision.
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah, Activision, EA games in general.
Sports.
Fucking EA. They're the worst.
Budgie.
But yeah.
Laying off 200 people.
There's a lot of people getting mad about that, apparently.
Yeah. A lot of developers got pissed off at Larian for that release. And for me, that's proof and utter reason enough that it should be Game of the Year.
Yeah. Awesome. So Baldur's Gate, anything else to say about it?
I see there's so much replayability with this game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my next playthrough is going to be Dark Urge. Just because I want to play an evil character that just wants to, throw the nice, townsperson into the fire and watch them burn and laugh. Like I want to play that character to see what they have in the game at the ending for that. Because so far, I've been playing a drow rogue that steals whatever the hell she wants, but other than that is good.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see what a Salty Earth campaign looks like here. So I mean, there's so many options, so many different ways you can play it, so many dialogue options for what your class is, what your race is, everything. And as Rick said earlier, every choice you make has impact. Every choice you make has weight. It's a really great game. I recommend everybody who has any interest whatsoever in an RPG playstyle buys it. Even if you don't think you're going to like turn-based, I didn't. And it is one of my favorite games I've played in the last 10 years.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah, my advice is if you do play it, like, don't leave an act till you've searched everything and done everything. Yeah. Like, level up your character. And also, like, I think making sure that you do your research too, like, to know what everything means, like what all the attributes are and everything. If you haven't played RPGs before or haven't played Dungeons and Dragons before, kind of know what the attributes are and what you're going to, because it can be kind of overwhelming and a little confusing. So kind of look that up. They have like builds and stuff you can look up in Google to kind of help out with that. People make it real easy for you. So like Google that stuff. Like I did that stuff at first till I kind of got the hang of it. Now I kind of know the direction I want my guys to go.
The build crafting is damn near infinite. And if you have any sort of an idea of how you want to play the character, look it up. Somebody's got a build. You don't have to use exactly that build. I have just based my character off of, a random build that I've seen. And it was a random build that I saw that I kind of wanted my wife to play in our D&D game. It's her rogue. And I was like, I want to see how well this works. And turns out it works really damn well.
Nice. Awesome. Sounds like Boulder's Gate is a winner. Go check it out if you have some free time and some extra cash laying around. Well, that will do it for us today at Spit Take. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe on Spotify or iHeartRadio, and make sure to share it with your friends.